voters, because you know what'll happen. You're doing this in lame duck because you know next session you won't have the votes. This is an outrage. And anybody in this chamber who is willing to vote for a bill that changes the precedent in this state of such consequence without even allowing us to offer a real amendment does not deserve to be here. Thank you.
That was Democratic State Representative Brandon Dillon of Grand Rapids, Michigan, who joins us now live from PBS Studio WKAR in the state capital of Lansing. Representative Brandon Dillon, welcome to Democracy Now! Explain how it is that this legislation moved forward. It didn't always have Governor Snyder's full support.
Well, first, Amy, thanks for having me on the show. And you're absolutely right. For 2 years prior to this, after being elected in 2010, Governor Snyder campaigned and told people that he would govern as a moderate. He said that right to work was not on his agenda. And in fact, when the protests and issues were going on in Wisconsin and Ohio, Governor Snyder went out of his way to say that he didn't want to govern in the divisive way that Scott Walker and John Kasich were. Well, we fast forward to after the election here, and with pressure from people like Dick DeVos of the Amway fortune, the Koch brothers, and other right-wing CEOs who believe that the opportunity was here to push right to work, the governor caved and showed his true colors, that he's not a moderate, he's not a political agnostic, he's a corporate CEO with an agenda to depress workers' wages and make sure that the middle class has less power at the bargaining table.
How do you know these big moneyed interests are involved that you talk about?
Well, for instance, they've begun running ads here in Michigan under the misnomer Freedom to Work. They're being funded by Dick DeVos, who started an organization here in Michigan around 2007 with the express purpose of advancing right to work. His wife, Betsy DeVos, who was the former chair of the Michigan Republican Party, in 2004 penned a press release that said Michigan's economic problems were largely due to the high wages that workers enjoy. This has been a coordinated effort from the DeVos family going back to 2004. They've been very outspoken in their support. There were media reports that Mr. DeVos was calling around senators who didn't want to vote for this and pressuring them with primaries, and I suspect he did the same thing with the governor. The fact of the matter is the governor had an opportunity to have his last 2 years as governor be one of bringing the state together. He's decided to support the most divisive piece of legislation that's ever come forward in Michigan, and you'll see by the people gathering at the Capitol today that he's tearing the state apart.
Betsy DeVos, the wife of Mr. DeVos, is the sister of Eric Prince, the founder of Blackwater. I wanted to go to one of those ads that you mentioned. A group called the Michigan Freedom Fund has launched a $1 million TV ad campaign in favor of the right-to-work legislation. As you said, here's one of the ads.
Freedom, choice, we cherish it. There's a plan to protect our freedom in Michigan. It's called Freedom to Work, because joining a union or not should be your choice. And choosing not to join shouldn't cost you your job. Freedom to work will mean more jobs, making Michigan more attractive to new businesses. What won't change? Collective bargaining remains a federally protected right. Tell Lansing, protect collective bargaining and support freedom to work.
Talk about this group and the effect these ads have had.
Well, it's ironic that they use the word freedom in these ads, because the only thing that this gives freedom to is for corporate CEOs to depress workers' wages. This isn't about freedom to choose, and they know that. They know from their own polling that the more people know about this proposal, the less they like it. What they don't tell you is that nobody's been forced to join a labor union in Michigan. It's illegal under federal law. And in fact, if this right to work, or as my colleagues and I like to refer to it as freedom to freeload, passes, those that choose not to join a union and not to pay dues will still be given all the benefits that a union contract entails and all the protections that union representation has. The proponents of this legislation will not tell you that. They will not tell you that unions will still be bound to represent those people who choose not to participate in the union. And for a party that talks about personal responsibility all the time, it seems strangely ironic that they're promoting this idea of freeloading, because really what it's about, it's what Betsy DeVos and her husband have said all along. They don't like the fact that Michigan workers enjoy a higher standard of living than other states. They don't like high wages. They don't like the fact that unions have some place at the bargaining table to advocate for their employees. They want to weaken the hand of unions. They want to depress wages, and they want to make it an economy where a shrinking middle class means more corporate profits.